Hello everyone and welcome back to Traveling with Françoise. I am Françoise Rhodes, your host. Thanks so much for all of you who joined us for live What's Happening Coachella Valley with Craig Campbell and myself and his baby, of course, CoachellaValley.com, the website you want to go to for everything about the Coachella Valley. And also his other website, or actually his Facebook page, Today's California, where we are right now. So again, welcome to Today's California, and look at all the amazing pictures on this Facebook page. And of course, for those of you joining us on Traveling with Françoise and CoachellaValley.com. If you missed any part of the first show, we will make sure that that will be available on TravelingWithFrancoise.com and available on the Facebook page, Coachella Valley, the Coachella Valley. And you can watch the show over and over and over because a lot of you tend to watch it later on. I know there's sports going on, there's football, there's all sorts of crazy things. Last night we had a baseball game where a lot of us, we went, oh, when that happened in the last inning, but you know, that's what makes it exciting. But this show is about travel, and travel is picking up slowly for some, quicker for others. RVing is huge. People out there on the lakes, boating, huge. A lot of course, outdoor recreation is huge right now. Flying, slowly picking up. We'll talk about that. And we'll talk about a new craze that is hitting the adventurist. For those who like to sit. Yes, for those of you who like to be adventurous and sit while doing it, I have a new craze that you might be interested in. Also in this portion, also on Traveling with Françoise, we are going to be giving away, well, let me take off my notes here so you can see it, a Palm Springs Windmill tour. And thanks to Palm Springs Windmill Tours in Palm Springs, you are going to be able to take you and 7 of your closest friends, a carload of people, up to 8 people in one vehicle, and take the self-driving windmill tour. And it's a great tour. It's very interesting. You can stop at each checkpoint, get out if you want, or just listen to the audio that you'll have in your car. You can do both if you'd like. Take pictures. You check in at the office. Then they give you directions. You just follow them. Very easy to navigate. Very informative, a lot of fun. So I'll be giving away one of these sometime during the show here. And as always, because we don't have all the graphics and the pictures and all the fancy stuff with everything that's been happening, Sean is not in studio with us. I am here. Craig is the producer right now, and so we don't have all those extras. I try to keep the show kind of tight because I know you have a lot of things going on today and things that you want to get out and do. I also have this is a fun list, Halloween Hauntings in California, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this book and where you can get your own book for your state. This one's called Weird California, one of the most incredibly fun books I've ever read as far as learning about strange things. And many states have their own weird book, and they also have a series of weird things, and I'll tell you about a few of the weird hauntings in California. But again, I really like this book. It's kind of a go-to book when you're looking for something different, especially, you know, in what I do here, because every day is always something different. So we will jump right in with travel news. Of course, the coronavirus pandemic is sparking changes in travel in the travel insurance industry. A lot of you have brought up travel insurance. I know ACT Tours, when they had their in-person Travel Club of the Desert meetings each month, which are now actually virtual videos on their Facebook page, ACT Tours, almost every week someone would be asking about travel insurance here because of the pandemic. It's changed so much. Never in the history of travel did they think that, I don't know, they just weren't ready for something like this to happen. A lot of travelers never purchased insurance, me being one of them. I'm kind of the sign, I'm going. You know, I'm going, whatever happens, I'm there. That's the way I thought, but now we can't really look at it that way because things are changing so rapidly. And they've always had an insurance policy to buy that covers everything. But a lot of people never bought it because, of course, it'd be more expensive than the others. But now the industry is changing big time, and many insurance companies are looking to introduce policies with coverage to address COVID-19 trip interruptions or cancellations. They're actually going to make a new category just for a new policy just for COVID-19, which frankly, if it's for COVID, they should open it up in case some other pandemic comes about. So there is a lot of changes in the travel industry towards insurance. It might be up to you though, and I'm just going to say this. I was talking to someone the other day. They were asking me about going to Hawaii, and what's the best way to make their reservations, what kind of deals are out there. And travel agents are fantastic, but in this weird climate that we're in, it doesn't hurt for you to call directly. If you know directly where you want to stay, it might behoove you to just call them directly and talk to them. I'm just saying, okay? So, like I say, many changes, but you have to be a little bit more proactive on how you feel about where you're going. Call them, talk to them, call the chamber, call some friends you might have in the area, see how it is, but instead of just going and assuming, right now when we're assuming something, usually we're wrong. So assuming is never good, all right? Something else in the world of travel, calling transportation systems essential for America's economy. The CDC strongly recommended that all passengers and workers wear masks on airplanes, ships, trains, subways, and taxis to reduce the spread of COVID-19, which that seems like a common sense thing. I noticed here in the Coachella Valley yesterday, I was driving on El Paseo, I was doing some running around. I almost could feel the difference between a visitor and a local. Don't ask me why, but I noticed clusters of people that were not wearing masks, and then I saw other clusters that wearing masks, and just kind of, you just kind of get a feel. When you're a local in a place for so long, visitors sort of stand out. So it is interesting out there, and when you do travel, please be respectful to the destination that you are going to. Be respectful to the citizens, the locals, especially small communities like Julian, like Borrego Springs, like Big Bear, any small community in your area. You have to remember they do not have the medical infrastructure that the big cities do, and that's the issue. That's why they constantly ask you to wear your mask and whatnot. They just can't, paramedics isn't going to come and take them to a hospital that's only 10 minutes away. A hospital for a lot of these small communities is 45 minutes to an hour away, or people have to be airbagged out. So keep that in mind. It's not about being petty or overcautious or trying to bother the visitors. They just know that they don't have that medical infrastructure, and they want you to be aware of it. And so be respectful, all right? But again, they're asking you, CDC is saying, wear those masks now everywhere, any kind of transportation that you ride on, including Lyft, Uber, all of those, put those masks on. All right, in the air, TSA screens 1 million. This is exciting news. 1 million daily passengers for the first time since the pandemic began. Most people flew in the U.S. over the weekend of October 16th through 18th. So I'm not sure what happened that weekend, but that was a good weekend for flying. And as the holidays are coming up, more and more people are taking to the skies. A friend of mine, she lives in Arizona, and she's been in and out of Canada. And I know it's hard right now for the Canadians to get flights here to the U.S. into Palm Springs. It's been very difficult for a lot of them. Plus the triple cost of insurance now to cover COVID-19. I don't think we're going to have as many snowbirds, and a lot of, actually Canadian snowbirds, and a lot of the tourist destinations where we really count on those dollars. But what is changing is people from outer lying areas all across the nation are going into these smaller communities just to get away. So we'll be getting revenue from there. But that is such great news with the TSA. Again, it was over the weekend of October 16th through 18th. More than any other point during the COVID-19 pandemic, TSA crossed this long-awaited line, and they were so excited to report that to everybody, and to the airlines. We're very, very happy to hear that, because we will see some airlines never come back from this. Same as restaurants. It's just been too overwhelming. All right, in the live What's Happening in Coachella Valley, Larry Brohannon brought up the middle seat blocking by Southwest is to end. Yes, Southwest is the first airlines that will now end the middle seat blocking. This will end on December 1st. So you have until December 1st to keep that middle seat blocked. I am wondering though if they're going to maybe charge a fee. I don't know. I guess you could always buy the seat. Is there a way that you can somehow block that? And they're not going to give it to you if they can get full fare for it. But they are using so, I have to think I want to say this. Their sanitization practices on the airlines is so much better than it has ever been. They're feeling confident with the spray now that they use. It goes through the cabin after each flight, and it puts this coating, this antibacterial coating on everything. The filtration systems, they're feeling very confident that actually, and if people wear their mask, which they want you to wear their mask when flying, that your chances of COVID while flying are very slim. So they're doing a lot of research on it, and that's what they're coming up with. In fact, I saw a study that says catching it on a plane was very minimal if you were protected. And the plane, of course, they have to do what now their guidelines. They have to follow these guidelines because they cannot afford to be shut down. No, they certainly cannot. All right, as we are still in the air, Spirit putting the free in its updated loyalty program. For the first time, the carrier will offer free seat selections, free carry-on bags, and checked bags to qualifying free Spirit members. So if you fly Spirit a lot, there's a lot of freebies involved for you. So take advantage of it. There's probably a lot more freebies out there than you even know about, from the ground to the cruises to airlines. You just have to ask, and you're not going to know if you don't ask. All right, and I do have some news about Las Vegas too when we get to our on the ground section. And don't forget, I am giving away a Windmill tour, self-driving tour at Palm Springs Windmill Tours, and we'll be giving that away in just a little bit. All right, in cruise news, that has been so up and down for the cruise industry. They've put new ships on hold. They've sold off a lot of their old ships now that will go either for scrap metal or maybe to some countries that don't have any cruise ships that now can afford a cruise ship. So it's a big transition in the cruise world, but new mega ships are coming. They're still working on a few of those, but it will be a different industry because not all ports are accepting cruise lines. Very expensive for a cruise ship to actually dock in a port. People don't realize that. They think that they're just embraced. Well, of course they're embraced in the community because they paid big dollars to park that cruise ship there. So it's a win-win for the cruise ship because it adds to the itinerary, but it's a win for the community and the government infrastructure there for all the dollars that they bring in. So future cruises to Alaska, the Caribbean, especially cruise lines going to private islands, these are all picking up in bookings. Yes, Caribbean's doing well. Alaska was hit so hard because a big part of their income is the cruise line, the cruise industry from May to September there. But future cruises, bookings are picking up quickly. The only place right now where it's lagging, of course, is Europe, because Europe had that second big spike of COVID, and frankly, they're not even letting ships dock in many places over there. But it's good to hear that Caribbean, Alaska, Mexico is doing very well. So cruise bookings are going up. So yes, and you can go cruising for those of you who want to get out there. All right, and the word from the cruise executives during a Monday panel addressed, let's see what I have here. Oh, that was from the word from the executives. Okay, that was all tied in together. I kind of separated in my notes there. So anyway, bookings picking up except for Europe. The Caribbean is #1 for Norwegian Cruise Lines. That is the #1 place where people are going right now, is the Caribbean. So if you, and a lot of the resorts there are now open. There are some guidelines for some of you that are going over there and going to stay at a resort. Some islands do have a quarantine period. Others have, you must show your COVID-free test card. So make sure that you know all these things before you go, because remember, if you're put in quarantine anywhere you go, you are responsible for paying that cost of the hotel. No one else but you. So you don't want to get there and then find out that all your money that you had to go towards doing things and having fun and eating is going for your room for 7 days because you're in quarantine, or 14 days. So just keep that in mind. You're responsible for those quarantine fees, no one else. Uniworld will spray its ships with antimicrobial surface coating. The ACT, that's what it's called, Act Clear Coat protects surfaces from COVID-19 and other microbes. So that again is happening on just about all modes of transportation now. The Ada Blue departed on a 7-day cruise from sit vecchia to several Italian ports. So there are some ports in Italy now that people are cruising. That's exciting. Italy is beautiful. I spent a month in Italy 1 year, a month in Italy, another month cruising around other parts of Europe, a couple weeks in France, a couple weeks in Germany, Switzerland. It was just, the people were so friendly and so nice, and it was just such a great time. That brings me back to, also did some cruises out of London. It just did a cruise to Russia. I don't know, I've done a lot, but there's always more. It's never enough. For people who love to travel, it is never enough. There's always something out there that's waiting right around the corner for us. All right, and still on the ocean, Magnifica is the second MSC ship to return to service. It has begun a series of 10-day Mediterranean cruises from Genoa, Italy. So again, the cruises are starting up again. So check with your travel agent, check with ACT Tours, check with the cruise line, see if there's something out there for you. And of course, they are booking, lots of bookings or trips are being planned for 2021. Long itineraries now are out there for you to choose from, so check it out. And on a per capita basis, remember we mentioned Alaska earlier, the loss of revenue from canceled cruise season impacts Alaska more than any other state. Alaska was hit the hardest because of the size, and it just hard to hear that. So if you've never been to Alaska, go. It's beautiful. I've been on 3 cruises, I think, to Alaska. Each one stopped at exactly the same places, but each one was a different experience every single time. I actually took the pontoon plane, the seaplane, and landed on a lake, which was very cool, landed on a glacier. It's really incredible. The only thing about Alaska that, if I had to say, would bother me was there's one part of the year where there's mosquitoes, and mosquitoes love me, so that was a little challenging. But besides that, it's beautiful. You see the eagles and the trees, and it's just incredible. The whales, it's beautiful. So if you have a chance to go to Alaska, I say go. And for those of you who've been, you know what I'm talking about, and book another trip to Alaska. Okay? So how are we doing over there, Craig? Are we doing it?
We're doing excellent.
We're doing
Thank you
it.
so much.
Okay. Well,
hey,
great.
You know what? You got a windmill tour coming up here in Palm Springs, California. I'm thinking you might want to.
Okay, I'm going to do one more thing.
Continue on.
And
People
then we're going
loving
to
you.
then we're going to give that windmill tour away. Okay, tour. I have a hard time speaking sometimes. On the ground. All right, let's talk about what is happening. All options are on the table when it comes to reopening California's theme parks, including potential legal actions. They have just about had it here in California with these theme parks being closed. They are now saying that they are going to take legal action against a California governor and his crew up there and say, come on, if Disney World, Epcot Center, they're already setting up for Taste of Epcot International to be held in early 2021. Disneyland in Florida, Disney World, they already have their holiday campaign starting in November. Right here, everything is closed still with these theme parks, and we need to get them open. And theme parks here in California have had just about enough. So if you've been planning to come to California to go to our theme parks, well, you might want to think again because they're not open. Yeah. All right. And here's something I was mentioning. Craig, you might find this interesting. Before we talk about Halloween hauntings, here's something I'm wondering, would you out there do this? It is called desert sitting. It's the latest craze out there. And this is what you do. You pick a spot in the desert on one of the longest days of the year, which is during the summer, by the way. I think I'd modify this a little bit, but this is what it's called, desert sitting. You stake out your 8x8 square foot little space there, and you sit there all day long from sunrise to sunset with no phones, no radios, nothing to interact with any other people except anybody that might walk by and talk to you. Let's see, and nothing that tells time. You are not supposed to know what time it is when you're out there, and you're supposed to take in everything your desert sitting has to offer. And they say, philosophically, what this does for you, it is a day of self-enforced sitting in nature, which is meant to represent a clean break from our spiritually destructive daily existence. tethered as it is to constant motion and worse, to a never-ending connectivity that makes us available to be interrupted at any time.
Well, I think the most important thing that you brought up, Françoise, was that June 21st, the hottest day of the year out here, all afternoon. Let me see, you're going to sit quietly for how many hours was it? 8 hours?
All day.
I don't think you're surviving.
But they have showing people who are doing this.
Yeah. I'm just letting you know that I'd bring an umbrella. I'd bring something.
Yes, you can bring an umbrella.
I don't know that you have to do it on the longest day of the year.
Well,
so I think the idea is maybe nature, get outdoors, you know, escape. We have so many hiking trails throughout California.
Yeah.
And lots of things are opening up, even though we had the worst wildfire season out here. So.
But I do like the idea of going and sitting uninterrupted. I mean, really, that would be kind of cool. I would do that. But I don't know if I do it for all day, so I'm not sure. Yes. Oh, wait. Okay. All right. So before we go into our Halloween hauntings, oh, wait a minute. Before we go there, how about live shows returning to Las Vegas? David Copperfield, he's returning to Las Vegas. Yes, one of these shows starting. Actually, they're starting in November. So there you go. In November, David Copperfield's MGM Grand, Brad Garrett's Comedy Club at MGM Grand. Let's see, Jabberwocky, at MGM Grand, Carrot Top at Luxor, Fantasy at Luxor, Thunder from Down Under at Excalibur. Ladies, there you go. You need some excitement. You've never seen, oh, well, you've probably never seen that. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, Australian Bee Gees at the Excalibur. So there are shows opening up in Vegas. That's a good sign. So there you go. I mean, Carrot Top. I don't know. The draw for Carrot Top has never been for me. I don't know.
Well, you know, it used to be so good. I remember watching him on, it was late night, you know?
Yeah.
And he would come on and he would always do his skits and they were pretty cool.
They're pretty good. You know what?
I would laugh out loud.
I have to say, I am not one of those that follow the trends. I pretty much just kind of whatever hits me is what I'll watch. I probably brought this up before. I'm still amazed by this show. I started watching Schitt's Creek. It is set this little tiny, probably because it's a little tiny town where these people are living in a little motel, and I have to say, the writing is phenomenal. It really is. I sit there and laugh at the show. There's no laugh track. There's nothing. And when a show can make you laugh with no laugh track, pretty darn good. All right. So I'm not telling you to watch it. I'm telling you it's something that all of a sudden I got hooked on. So what do we have? Let's do this. Let's do the Windmill tours, and then we'll talk about Halloween hauntings. And then I have my book, Weird California, which is weird, by the way. So we are going to have the first person that calls in to 760-285-7321. That's 760-285-7321. You will win a self-driving, take your own car, and it's just, don't worry, the roads are just fine in there. They're just kind of, hard-packed sand, dirt roads, through the Palm Springs Windmill tours. And you can take 7 of your friends, up to 8 people in a vehicle. And this is a great value, and you can get out at each designated spot and learn about the windmills here in Palm Springs and take pictures next to them, or not, whatever you'd like to do. And then they also have a couple of the parts of the tour goes up on the hill where you look down over the entire valley. You have an audio system that can go with you. So if you would like to win this and you have not won this before, please give us a call at 760-285, read my own writing, 7321. Okay? All right.
760-285-7321. It's in the comments for you guys. Give us a call now. The lines are open. First caller wins.
Will win that. And I email this to you. It is a certificate that I email you, and you can just show them on your phone or print it out, and it has a code on it, so when you make the reservations, actually, you use that code. Now, remember, you cannot have won this before, and I think you can need to be in Palm Springs to use it, so there you go. I don't know where everybody's coming from. I don't know if there's an I haven't seen any expiration date on it, so that shouldn't be a problem expiration date wise. So if you want to win this, you can give us a call. And like I say, you can not have won one of these before. All right. Halloween is coming. I am not going to be here next Sunday, which is also daylight savings time. I'm taking the weekend off. But if you're looking for some places in California to be haunted, terribly haunted, These are the top ones, but I'll tell you what the #1 place is for haunting, but not yet. But so California, famous haunted places, you know a lot of them. Queen Mary in Long Beach. Hotel del Coronado in San Diego. Yes, beautiful there, but yes, quite haunted. Queen Mary, I did have my own haunting experience on the Queen Mary. I had a drawer, and the ship's, it's tied into the pylons. It doesn't move. The ship does not float out there at the Queen Mary. It is stationary. But I had these drawers that kept opening and closing. I leave the room, come back, they'd be open. And I'd sit there and stare at them while I'm in the room. They would never open. But as soon as I leave the room and come back, the drawers would be open. It was the weirdest darn thing, but it was pretty cool also. So I do believe the ship is haunted. I did go down into the bowels of the ship, and it's very eerie down there. And they used to have a big Halloween, but they couldn't do it this year. The Queen Mary was just really, they did this humongous Halloween event over there, and sadly not this year, but it's worth going to. Lots of fun. All right, Hotel del Coronado, because of the gal that threw herself out the window there. There's some other It's a long story about a lady whose, you know, fiance left her and all this stuff.
Now, is this recently?
No, this
is
was
a Halloween.
long
so there's
time
ghosts.
Ago. But they still see the ghost there. They still see her up in the windows and stuff. So that's what they say. The Winchester Mystery House in San Jose. Wow, that is quite an experience. If you're up there, go in there. It's not as creepy as you think it might be because it doesn't have all the furnitures in it, but it really is. It's a house of a lot of tales. Yes, I could see where there would be some ghosts that want to live there because they don't know how to leave. There's so many little stairways and doors and ins and out. They probably just don't know how to get out of there. But according to the U.S. Commerce Department, the most officially recognized haunted house in California is the Whaley House in San Diego. You ever heard of it?
I've seen it because I didn't know that, but now I'm knowing what you're talking about. And I can see it in my mind's eye.
Do you know why it's haunted?
No, I have no idea.
Because 7 people died in that house. 6 family members, very tragically, most of them, and a neighbor's child who tragically died, and they never left that house. That is a house of many tragedies, but they do give tours and whatnot. And
I was going to say, it's not a bed and breakfast, is it now?
No, you can read all about the Whaley House right here. There's a whole bunch of stories about it. In fact, there's a lot of stories about all the hauntings.
Where's the location? I know it's San Diego. Do you know?
It is San Diego. I don't have the exact address on here. Sorry about that. But you can just look it up. Google it. You'll find it very easy. The Whaley House. Go to this book, Weird California. It will tell you about all the strange things that you can see in California. Now, not only is this book in California, but they have it in a bunch of other states. So check it out wherever you live. Trust me, you will find some really strange things in your area that you're going to want to go and see.
Hey, before you guys go, because I see a lot of you guys coming, and you're not sure exactly where you're at, this is Traveling with Françoise show, travel information and news. And right now we have a contest. We're looking for the first caller to win these Windmill Tour driving self-tour in Palm Springs, California. Now, I know we're doing this on Today's California, but you can send it to a friend or whatever else. First caller, 760-285-7321 wins these tickets for 8 people to be able to enjoy the self-guided windmill tour. It's got 12 different stops, panoramic views, totally worth it if you haven't done it. And we are cooling off here in the Coachella Valley.
Yeah, it is nice.
Back
Thank
to you,
Craig. Yeah, well, so if you don't win it, someone else is going to win it next week. So there you go. I want to thank all of our sponsors, but ACT Tours, before I get there, act-tours.com is a website. They have a lot of trips that they are booking in 2020. Waikiki, Tulip Cruise, Washington, D.C., Puerto Vallarta again. They had such a great time. Iceland. I want to go to Iceland. Definitely Iceland. The rails. You ride the rails. It's a really great trip in Arizona. Royal Caribbean, a cruise to the Holy Lands, the Nile Cruise. They have a lot of things happening, and you can find all that out on act-tours.com or give them a call, 760-322-1247, and check it out. They are booking now for 2021. I want to thank all of my sponsors of the show. Mike Thompson RV, they're doing a bang up, crazy time for them over there. They can't even keep the inventory in there. So many of you are RVing for the first time. What I love is families, you're getting out there and seeing that RVing is not just for a certain age group, it is for everyone. And you can have a fabulous time with your family. Remember, RV parks though are more busier than ever, so make your reservations in advance so you're not sleeping in a Walmart parking lot. Yeah, but they are overly busy because of the new RVers that are out there.
Hey, we want to welcome Gary Schwartz, you know.
Hey Gary, how are you doing?
He's hanging out.
Yeah, Gary's always hanging out. I wonder if Gary's back from his travels I think it was in Montana. I don't know if Gary's back or not. So Volkswagen of Palm Springs, they still have their deal. Buy 3 tires, get 1 for $1. Diane Williams and Associates, the best real estate agents around. Indian Ridge Country Club, one of the country clubs you might want to live in. Borrego Springs Resort and Spa, check it out. They are open. They're doing a fabulous job with all the guidelines. A1 Custom Golf Cars and Desert Battery for all your golf cart needs and battery needs. All of this you can find on the website Traveling with Françoise. Let's see, Dana Wharf Whale Watching, they are open with limited capacity on their boats out of Dana Wharf. It's beautiful down there. Cabot's Public Museum, not quite yet. We'll find out more about them. Johannes Restaurant in Palm Springs, they're open for patio, curbside dining and takeout. And Arcatire, who does all the hats for me, Traveling with Françoise, and for you to win. All right, folks, on that note, I am stepping aside. Next week, I will not be here. Craig, for Live What's Happening Coachella Valley, hasn't decided what he's going to do. I'll replay a show or two. You can always go to the website. All our videos, all our video podcast shows are on travelingwithfrancoise.com, so you can watch them over and over. Television is every Thursday, on Monday and Friday at 5:30 a.m. on Fox 11, 1 p.m. on Thursdays on Fox 11, plus we're on Hulu, Fubo, so many more. Just Google Traveling with Françoise, you'll figure out. Artifacts and Arts Across America, we are just hanging in there, and that is about it. So you have a great week. Have a wonderful Halloween. Have a weird California time when you're out here. Remember daylight savings time next Sunday. And as always, it's never too late to get alive. See you next time. Bye.